afternoon, good morning, and good evening, wherever you may be listening from, or I guess in this case, watching from. Welcome back to another episode of Cheeky Chip Chat. My name is Rahul, and I am, of course, joined today by Paul. Are we still not live? Are we not live?
I'm still not seeing it now.
You're not seeing it?
Hold up. Now we are. Now we're good. Nice. There we are.
You had me worried there for a second. Welcome back to another episode of Cheeky Chip Chat. We've been doing this for a few years, audio. We had that down pat. We had that mastered. But it's our first time doing video, first time on a new platform, first time you guys are seeing our lovely faces. Paul, how you doing today?
Dude, I'm doing well, man. We've been teasing this for almost a whole year now.
Yeah, we've been saying, look out. We're going to be on a new platform. We've got some new stuff for you to look forward to. And then we never actually did it. But finally, new season, new show, new us. So,
absolutely.
Same us. Same. Nothing's changed. You could just see the reactions to the banter, to the analysis, to the cheekiness that is Cheeky Chip Chat. So welcome. We are glad to have any of our audio listeners watching us for the first time, and of course, Paul, glad to have you back on the show once again, as I am every week. Since we have tons of new, I keep wanting to call them listeners, viewers. Would you like to introduce yourself? Just talk a little bit about what club you support, maybe a little spiel, little 5-second thing,
Sure, absolutely. Basically, my name's Paul. Rahul, you and I started Cheeky Chip Chat way long ago at this point, and it's been a roller coaster of a ride. I'm our resident Arsenal fan. Big ups that 3-0 win in the past weekend there. But I'm a resident Arsenal fan, resident Bundesliga expert, maybe too. I don't know. Would you throw that in there, Raul?
We do defer to you when it comes to Bundesliga stuff. Whether we call you an expert, I don't know if I'd go that far. But yes, and of course I am Rahul. As you can probably tell by the Manchester United jersey and the Solskjaer shirt in the back, I'm a Manchester United fan. Very much enjoy watching my team. I don't know if I've enjoyed watching it too much, over the last 7 years, because we've had pretty rough times, but stuck it out, toughed it out. Been happy, been angry, disappointed, sad. All of which you can find on the last 2 seasons of Cheeky Chip Chat on Apple Podcasts, Google Music, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Did you like that little plug inserted there,
I
Paul?
do.
Thank you.
Like it.
And as Paul alluded to, we cover much more than just the Premier League. We cover really all 5 of the big European leagues, in addition to the Champions League and a little bit of Europa League here and there. And though we say top 5, we've done a really, really crappy job of covering Ligue 1. Perhaps we'll get better at that this season, but the rest of the leagues, we do a pretty good job of getting a few matches in and trying to mix it up, not doing too much of one or the other from week to week.
This would have been the perfect week to cover Ligue 1.
Yeah, given that there were like 5 red cards at the end of that PSG game. Yeah, you're right. That would have been a good one. But unfortunately, we are not, or perhaps fortunately, depending on who you support, we will not be covering any Ligue 1 matches this week. Instead, we will be starting what has become our main segment of the show. It's called Deep Fried. You can tell this show is chip themed. Chip, obviously in America we have potato chips, which of course in the UK across the pond referred to as crisps, and for them
Indeed.
Chips are French fries, which they don't consider French fries. They're chips. It's very confusing. It's a very interesting time that we live in. But we choose to go with the French fry kind of analogy, and we're deep frying these matches, going deep into these matches, going deep into the tactics, into the subtext, into everything that happened during the game, giving our analysis as fans, and demonstrating that even as football fans, we can break things down pretty well.
Yeah.
So, would you like to get into it, Paul?
Let's talk about soccer.
Here I go trying to explain how we're going to go with the British definition of chips. And And actually, fun fact, I'll go into this a little bit on our first video episode. Did you know that soccer actually originated from the UK? Did you know that?
Hmm.
Because for those of you out there listening who did not know this, um, there were two types of football emerging at the time. There was association football, and there was rugby football, and they needed a way to differentiate between the two types of football. So, as you can imagine, when you're in the UK and you want to bet, like, £5, £10, you want to refer to £5, £10, you call it a fiver or a tenner. So naturally, instead of calling it association football, they took the SOC out of association football and called it soccer. And so that became the term that they used to refer to the sport. Brought it over to the US. The US started using soccer, and then I guess they didn't like that, and they switched back to football. And then now we're idiots for calling it soccer. But it is what it is. But there's going to be a little bit of history because we're going to talk a little bit about Leeds. But Paul, let's get into Liverpool versus Leeds.
Let's do it.
So the first game of the season for the defending champions, Liverpool. Doesn't give me any joy to say that. But now I got to be honest. I was familiar with the name Marcelo Bielsa, but I hadn't watched a lot of Leeds United. I had seen that they had done really well last season. I had heard of his style of football being very attractive, but I had never personally seen it with my own eyes. Paul, did you have any kind of preconceptions of how Leeds played before you came into this match?
So Marcelo Bielsa has been at Leeds for now 3 seasons, I guess, right? So he joined.
We would have seen him in the. Sorry, I hate to interrupt, but we would have seen him in the Premier League last season had they not conceded that goal. If you recall, when they scored a goal when one player was injured, and then Bielsa said, "Let the other team go and score," and then it ended up in the end of the day costing them promotion, which is quite interesting. But continue.
Yeah, I was exactly going to bring that up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, because it really does kind of go into the legacy of Marcelo Bielsa. Marcelo Bielsa, right? I'm getting that right.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, no, I am. Just making sure we're all on track here. So Marcelo Bielsa, he has a very long history with national teams mostly, or at least in recent years, mostly national teams. He's coached Chile, he's coached Argentina. So he's worked with some high-end players, but the real kind of aura around Marcelo Bielsa, Raul, is the fact that all these world-class managers seem to really idolize him.
Yeah.
I'm talking Pep talks about him all the time. Klopp talks about him. Jose Mourinho has mentioned him before. They all look to him for his kind of specific style of play, which is, from what I understand, and kind of saw it in this game a little bit, even though the defense might have not been great in this game, really kind of a high press. And then, like you mentioned, 2 seasons ago, he joined Leeds United, a historic Premier League team, caught in the championship, and even worse at times. I think they made it all the way down to like the 3rd tier, maybe even 4th tier.
Yeah, I think they did go down to League One. Yeah.
Because they had some big money issues. But they signed Marcelo Bielsa as their manager. One real cool thing about Marcelo Bielsa, he only signs 1-year deals. Isn't that interesting?
That's why I was wondering why they had to, they were worried about him signing a new deal at the beginning of this season. That's why. It's because he only does one year at a time.
Yep. So they bring him on, and now we start thinking, wow, Leeds might actually, they're on the come up, right? And then, as you mentioned, 2 seasons ago, not last season, but the season before that, they had a chance for promotion, and the weirdest turn of events happened, right? And Marcelo Bielsa lets some teams score because it's the right thing to do. And then suddenly, Leeds is not being promoted because they lose in the playoffs. And then they come back next season and they get promoted, and not just any kind of promotion, Rahul. They didn't have to go through all this playoff.
They didn't have to play in the playoff, yeah.
Yeah, just straight up promotion. And then kind of the last thing I want to mention about Bielsa and his legacy is cheating scandals, lots of cheating scandals, if you recall, from a couple of years ago, where he was spying on other
Yeah, I
teams
do remember
and
this.
their
Yes.
training. So there's a lot of drama around Marcelo Bielsa. I kind of think of him as a kind of like a Jose Mourinho character.
He's kind of like
So
a Bill Belichick almost, like
mm,
he's almost, and like not in terms of like how successful he's been, because we said that's still yet to be proven. But in terms of the way his attitude towards the media, just a lot of his interviews, I've just seen like the media will ask him questions and he'll just be like stone dead faced, like deadpan, short answers like "What do you think?" Like you're asking me that question, "What do you think?" And then like being renowned by other coaches for his style, but then also having this little thing about him that like, do we know that everything he's doing is necessarily above board? Is very interesting. Um,
yeah, that's a great analogy. I think he kind of looks like Bill Belichick too, in a way.
he's speaking a Spanish speaking Bill Belichick. Um,
Exactly.
but anyway,
But yeah,
but
that's Marcelo Bielsa, and now he's promoted Leeds up, and we had a great game with Liverpool,
with Liverpool,
champions of
which I
EPL.
honestly, personally, as a United fan, was hoping both teams could lose. But because everybody knows. You just go back to again last two seasons of Cheeky Chip Chat. I hate Liverpool. As much as I will give them credit for how incredible they were last season, and when they play well, and I will give all the credit in the world, but I still do not like them. And I also apparently don't like. I mean, I don't like Leeds either. Apparently, they're a huge rival of United. So I was doing some reading about that, stemming from they actually call it the Roses rivalry. The Leeds United, historically, Leeds was in the county of Yorkshire, Manchester in the county of Lancashire. Of course, the houses of Lancaster and York in the War of the Roses, the red rose of the House of Lancaster, the red of Manchester United, the white rose of the House of York, the white of Leeds United. There's all kinds of parallels and all that kind of stuff. Industrial Revolution, Leeds and Manchester competing, all that kind of stuff. So deep-seated rivalry, very intense. So I don't like them either. So going forward, even if they aren't a Big Six club, I will be trash talking. That's that's all of it. And we don't have a Leeds
I'm with
United
you.
fan on to defend them, which is unfortunate. But maybe in the future, we'll see. But anyway, Paul, Liverpool starting off just as they did last season, 4-3-3. Jurgen Klopp's tried and true. Robertson left back, Trent Alexander-Arnold right back. The only kind of maybe little wrinkle is Naby Keita starting in the midfield. But otherwise, they've got the tried and true trio of Mane, Firmino, and Salah up front. Any surprises from Liverpool for you?
Not necessarily surprises, like you said, kind of a standard 4-3-3 that Klopp loves to play. Joe Gomez getting the shout for the start in the center back line with Virgil van Dijk. Not a surprise necessarily to me, but every time I see him in the lineup, I think we might have that. That's kind of going to be their biggest weakness. I don't always trust Joe Gomez to do what he needs to do. And we actually did see that play out in this game a little bit, in all honesty. So nothing really surprising from Liverpool.
Not from Liverpool,
Um,
but from Leeds. Again, as I had said, I had never personally seen them play an entire game. So a 4-1-4-1 from them, at least from what I saw. What I liked about this formation is we know that Liverpool like to switch the play a lot. They like to exploit those, use those long diagonal balls from the fullbacks into the wide men. Just because they have such passing range with Alexander Arnold and with Robertson in particular. And the 4-1-4-1, because you spread yourselves out so wide across the pitch, you're able to cover some of those diagonal balls. And it also meant that when they were able to get into possession, they're able to overload Liverpool's back four because you have so many men in midfield. And of course, it works. The only trouble is if you get caught defending with too many of your men back. Obviously, once you get the ball, you don't have enough people forward. But with Marcelo Bielsa's style, which I noticed of just a very, very, very intense attacking work rate, very high attacking work rate. Just the second they get the ball, you just see guys flying up the pitch, which, like you said, may have played into the defensive frailty, which we'll talk about a little bit. But definitely fun to watch. Definitely fun to watch. Would you like to talk about Liverpool's opener, Paul? 3 minutes in.
Yeah, just to mention real quick on the
Yeah.
Leeds lineup, because
Yeah,
I
sure.
also didn't know too much about Leeds, but they did just make a huge signing. Whenever you get promoted to the Premier League, you get a bunch
You
of
get a little bit of
money.
cash, yeah.
You get a little bit of cash. So they brought the striker Rodrigo from Valencia,
Mm-hmm.
and he started on the bench. No surprise there. I think a lot of people expected him to maybe start because he was kind of the big summer signing, but Bielsa went with like the tried and true what he won the championship with last year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I was very excited to hopefully see, and we do eventually see, even though it wasn't as exciting as we wanted, Rodrigo coming in and playing a little bit for Leeds. So that was kind of their big summer signing.
Was he
But
really
yeah,
playing for Leeds though? If we're honest, we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. Um, but Liverpool with the opener, 3 minutes in. Liverpool starting off right where they left off, putting Leeds under tons and tons and tons of pressure before Leeds can really create anything. Penalty for Liverpool. Penalty for Liverpool. They always like to talk about a Manchester United penalty. Varchester United starting off the season strong with the penalty.
oh
Paul,
yeah.
any thoughts?
Well, then I thought the first one was definitely not as debatable as some of the Manchester United penalties. I thought it was a pretty, I thought it was a pretty clean penalty. I think the defender's name uh, is it
Sam
Cock?
Cook or Koch.
Yeah, Cock. I think it's Cock actually. That's at least how the English Premier League
Sam Cook is a
announcers.
player for the Ravens. That's why I just instinctively was just like, yeah, his name's Sam Cook, dude.
But yeah, just signed as well. This was his first start, and put his hand out for no apparent reason, or maybe to block the ball. No, it was accidental, but it was definitely not natural body position for his hand, and to me that marks an automatic penalty. And here I am going, here we go. Liverpool's starting off strong. This is going to be not as fun of a game as I thought it
It's
was. So
always
yeah,
great to be a newly promoted side and concede a penalty in the first 3 minutes to the reigning champions and at their stadium. It's always a great
I know.
place to be. And of course, Salah fires a shot straight down the middle. He was really smacking him in this game. My goodness, he lashing at the ball. But straight down the middle, keeper dives, I believe, to his left. And of course, Liverpool go ahead 1-0. But Leeds, not to be taken lightly, they start to grow into the game after this. It kind of speaks to the mentality instilled in them by the manager. Like I said, despite the adverse circumstances, to be able to begin to grow into the game after going down instead of collapsing under the pressure. Again, their first game back in the Premier League in God knows how long. And they're able to really grow back into the game.
Yeah, I was really happy about it, honestly, because like I said, I was really kind of let down that Liverpool scored so early. I literally have in my notes just the word "ugh," because I was like, "Here we go. This is going to be another season where promoted side doesn't do as well as they're supposed to, and Liverpool is just kind of just getting lucky strikes in." I mean, to concede a penalty so early against Leeds, I'm so happy they were able to bounce back, and they really bounced back in classic Bielsa style, from what I understand, with kind of just let's not play through the midfield, let's just put the ball as far forward as we possibly can, and yeah.
That's what's interesting is that when they put the ball forward as far as they possibly could, they basically started to outdo Liverpool at what Liverpool normally do to people, which is like, okay, guys, we don't need the best midfield in the world. Sure, once we get the ball up there, we're going to press the heck out of you so you can't play out, and then our midfield is going to become just like an extra pair of attacking midfielders or strikers. But what these guys did is they said, okay, instead of trying to play through our midfield against your midfield, fine. We'll just attack your fullbacks who we hear are so great. Let's just see how great they really are. Trent Alexander-Arnold, supposed young player of the year, incredible defensive fullback, which I've always said he's like a revolving freaking door at left back or at right back. And he gets exposed. He gets exposed not 8 minutes after they score the opener. With Manchester City loanee Jack Harrison cutting inside, Trent Alexander-Arnold getting absolutely caught out, and Jack Harrison hitting the equalizer past Alisson in the 11th minute.
Yeah, I mean, how good was James Harrison in that moment?
Fantastic. World class run and finish, composure. It was fantastic. And I was like, game on.
That near post finish, I was like, ooh, That's some good striking acumen right there. That's an MLS product right there, Raul. An MLS product.
Yeah, I saw that he played for NYCFC, of course, the completely unaffiliated with Manchester City, of course.
Oh yeah, completely unaffiliated.
Completely unaffiliated Frank Lampard. Anyway.
Game on.
Game
1-1,
on.
you know what I mean?
Game on. Both sides, again, like we said, I noticed both sides just avoiding the middle of the park. Like they would either play the long ball or they'd move the ball quickly down the flanks with the fullbacks advancing the ball. And so there really wasn't a lot of action truly in the midfield. But I mean, a lot of the exciting moments in this game didn't come from, slow, methodical build up through the midfield, because that's not how these teams play. And of course, one of the ways that Liverpool was able to win the title last season was getting lots of points from scoring lots of goals off of set pieces. Speaking of their second goal. 19th minute, off a corner, Robertson swings the ball into the cross for an unmarked. Paul, who was unmarked in the box?
Virgil van Dijk, and that's the person you don't want to unmark in the box.
Well, I mean, see, the sad part is if you left Harry Maguire unmarked in the box, you probably still wouldn't score. But you got Virgil van Dijk unmarked in the box, flying in on a corner. Man's gonna put it one place back in the net. Felt bad for the keeper. Did get a hand on it, but not before it went over. Not before the ball had ended up on the other side of the line.
Yeah, that was a powerful header from Van Dijk, and I'm glad he scored, because he lets up the third goal, right, of the game, or the
fourth goal.
Fourth goal of the game, right, with that unbelievable error, which I know we'll get to. But here's what I have to say about Virgil van Dijk's header: Calvert-Lewin-esque.
Wow. He's comparing Liverpool's world-class fullback to the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who, I mean, we should give a shout-out to him, because that was a beautiful header that he scored on the weekend against Tottenham Hotspur. And, of course, Tottenham Hotspur's 1-0 defeat to Everton. So, commiserations to some other people who are not on the show today, but I'm sure you will meet them in a future episode. The likes of Jaden, the likes of Jordan. Commiserations, get wrecked. But anything else?
You're absolutely right. Melier, I believe his name is Melier.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper for Leeds gets a hand on it, but honestly, it's just so powerful. It kind of looked like a comic book where he gets knocked back into the goal with just pure power.
Yeah, too much power on it. Yeah. I mean, I felt bad for him, because I thought he actually had a decent game. And it's just sad that, I mean, the first goal he conceded was a penalty. Second goal he concedes was a Virgil van Dijk header, which is just, I mean, come on, that's not his fault that Virgil van Dijk was unmarked in the box and such a powerful header that it sneaks in. It's not his fault. He actually got a hand on it. And then we'll talk about the other goals, but even the other goals, I mean, another one of them was a penalty, and then another one was a rocket. So I mean, I thought he was fairly unlucky, but I thought he had a decent game overall.
Saved an own goal.
Indeed.
Like less than 10 minutes later.
Indeed.
So that's a little props to him. So welcome to the Premier League, Melier, and just get used to it. So get
used to it, because there's plenty more where that came from. But let's go to the 29th minute. Sorry, there's so many goals. I'm trying to pick out which minute I'm in. 29th minute. Virgil van Dijk, the aforementioned Virgil van Dijk. What's that song that they like to sing in Liverpool? He'll pass the ball, calm as you like. He's Virgil van Dijk. He's Virgil van Dijk. And that's exactly what he did. The ball came over the top. He looked pretty calm. He flicked the ball on to the lead striker. He'll pass the ball, calm as you like. And that's Virgil van Dijk. And then the lead striker kind of mishits it, but loops off of Alisson. Unlucky for him, unlucky for VVD. And loops in and dribbles into the net for 2-2. The equalizer again. Absolutely nuts, Paul. I mean, these guys aren't going down without a fight.
Not at all. I'd like to give Bamford props for just the awareness, right? Again, we see Bielsa's team just long ball, just putting it over the top. It should have been routine for Virgil van Dijk. And I think Bamford at one point kind of all right, I got to slack off here a little bit because Van Dijk's going to get this clean. I don't want to cause a foul or anything. And then suddenly, ball falls right next to Virgil van Dijk, and Bamford has the wherewithal, let's put it that way, to score it. And like you said, a little bit of a ricochet, let's say, off Alisson, and 2-2, game on. I'm back in this game.
And you gotta give them some credit again, because it's again that high attacking work rate, that like desire, the second, like a pack of wolves,
Mm-hmm.
not Wolverhampton, but like, like a pack of
Duh.
wolves. just to the second that the ball might get turned over, the second that they're in possession, boom, to switch on. And even if it's a long ball, even if there's a long shot they're going to get there, they still chase it down, because that's just what they've been trained to do. And that philosophy paid dividends for them consistently in this match. And that's how you got to play against Liverpool. We'll see if other teams start to use this same kind of gung-ho thing against Liverpool, because we've seen lots of teams sit back against Liverpool just because they're scared of what they can do. Marcelo Bielsa said, no, we're going to come and try and outpunch you, and they very nearly almost did.
So here's a good question for you before we move on to a lot more goals.
A few more, yeah.
Do you think we're going to see Leeds play like this every week, in and out, or just because there's not a lot of pressure on Leeds to win this game? They could go out there, they could show what they were made of, and they, weren't expected to win this game. That kind of gave them a little freedom to play the way they wanted. Or do you think it's going to be a constant thing we see with them?
Now, again, I haven't watched Leeds enough to know whether Marcelo Bielsa is the kind of guy who will change up how he's playing based on the situation within a season, or if he's just kind of the guy who sticks with his philosophy. Well, it remains to be seen, at least for me. But from what I saw, they're not going to change how they play for anybody under any circumstances, unless like they're in fear of being relegated at the end of the season and they need to stay up, then maybe.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that.
But from what I saw in this game, however many times they went down, however many times stuff went against them, they kept playing exactly the same way, and it paid dividends because they stuck to what they do and what they do best. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But once again, speaking of sticking to what you do best, Liverpool from another set piece, 32nd minute. What is this? It's not Trent. It's Robertson swinging in a free kick, glancing off the Leeds defender, and it falls to who else but the Egyptian king himself, Mohamed Salah.
The Pharaoh. Yep, absolutely. I thought Leeds did a good job clearing that first ball in. It just happened to unfortunately fall to one of the best players. Yeah,
unlucky. Yeah.
But we cannot take anything away from that strike, Raul.
I had to rewind and watch it like 3 times because I was like, what? What just happened? First thing, it gets cleared. Second thing, it's flying in the back of the net. Top corner. And I'm like, from not very far out, for him to just take a touch, let it bounce, and say, I know exactly how I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit it as sweetly as I can, and it is going to go exactly where I need it to go, which is right top bins. Keeper's still not going to save it near post. Crazy.
Yeah, there's that one frame on the NBC broadcast of it where it's from like the back view of it, and you just see how close Melier gets to it, but there's just no saving it. Top bins all the way around, and they go in 3-2 at the half. And again, I'm thinking, here we go again. I don't know if Leeds can pull anything out in the second half.
Yeah, and credit to Liverpool. I've given a lot of credit to Leeds. Credit to Liverpool in this game. And I'll say it again at the end of the game. But being able to win ugly is very important. And we know that they're capable of doing it. But, they've had some time off. We don't know, same team, sometimes different season is all it takes. Just seeing that point counter reset to 0. What does it kind of look like? But they're showing that they're able to just be that same team that's able to fight through and win ugly. It's fun to watch, but it's still winning ugly. I still call this winning ugly. They'd prefer to win this game comfortably against a newly promoted side. Credit to them. Credit to them for continuing to fight through. 49th minute, Wijnaldum nearly gets on the score sheet. I bring him up because Wijnaldum key in Liverpool's pursuit of Thiago. I think we may or may not be talking about him later in the transfer section. I might throw him in there at the end if we're not.
Fair enough.
But he seems to be key in that whole Thiago saga. I think that he's a lot more clinical and more important than he sometimes gets credit for. So I want to give him a shout out for almost getting on the score sheet there.
Yeah, Barcelona. Possibly in for him.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're having financial issues. Don't worry, I know how they can make 700 million euros real easy.
Really? Really?
Yeah,
Have I
yeah,
heard
yeah,
of the guy that they could sell to do that?
yeah. We'll get to him later. Don't even worry about it.
56th minute. Trent Alexander-Arnold once again. You can tell that I'm salty that he so easily won a certain award. Because I think he's a garbage defender, but I mean it's fine. Hot
Wild.
take, not a hot take. Listen. He's great. He's great creatively, but defending, he's shocking. I'm sorry, he's awful. I do not. I would trust my screen door more than I trust Trent Alexander-Arnold. But 56th minute. He's so lucky that was offside. Otherwise, that would have been one of the most embarrassing own goals I've ever seen. He's very, very, very. He's a lucky boy. A very, very, very lucky boy. But
Again, ball over the top.
All over the top, getting exposed. Rashford exposed him a few years ago. Balls over the top, just absolutely torched him twice in the same game. So I'm telling you, if teams can figure him out. Defensively, it may not be as easy of a pick to just throw him in at right back, because you can't just afford to leak goals because your right back can't defend. Because even though it's nice to have a creative right back is still a right back. He's part of the back four. He needs to be able to defend better.
Yeah, I think, like I said at the very beginning when we were talking about the lineups, he's going to have a lot more defensive responsibility until they find another center back to play next to Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, because Joe Gomez is also getting a little exposed as well, which we'll talk about actually right now. In the 65th minute, Leeds finally equalize again with the Leeds right back playing a beautiful ball. Can we just talk about the timing of this pass?
Yes.
Because the timing of the window in which he's running and has to wait for the gap between Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez when they stop in order to thread this ball, loft it, but not too far over so that it doesn't become a header. Just dink it into the window. Great pass, great timing, and then fantastic finish by this guy named Click.
Matthias Click.
Yeah, Matthias Click. Fantastic finish across the face of goal for 3-3.
This might be a hot take. The best goals in this game, other than Mo Salah's just screamer, were Leeds goals.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I loved Leeds' goals. I hate Leeds.
That's fair. Costa, I believe, is the name of the right back there. He was my underrated player of the game. I thought he was pivotal for Leeds. I thought he was very, very good.
Superb. Him and Calvin Phillips. I liked Calvin Phillips as well. I thought he was fantastic as well.
Oh yeah, that he's that turn piece in the Bielsa midfield. That like he gets the ball out to past the midfield.
Yes.
Yeah, Phillips is a great shout there. But yeah, that was a clinical first time, bring it down. Second time, put it far post. Just like that's the way you kind of want your strikers to do it, or your attacking players to do it.
And you got to do it like that if you're going to get past goalkeeper like Alisson, because he's one of the best keepers in the world right now. So you got to do that. And then of course we'll just finish this up in the 86th minute. Are you freaking kidding me?
Salty
Calvin
much?
Phillips, the good player, being him, whatever, clears off the corner, right? They concede a corner from Firmino, whatever. Corner gets put in. Calvin Phillips heads clear. Rodrigo, I know you're a striker, but you're trying to hit the ball in the wrong box. You don't need to throw your foot out like that, like a freaking moron, and hit Fabinho, who's going to go down. He's going to go down. He's going to go down. Yep. It's like that song, It's Going Down for Real. Well, he's going down for real. And it's a penalty. It just is.
Yeah. It's another clear penalty. Right? It's not one of those United penalties where we're like, is it a penalty? Is Bruno Fernandes just really good at diving?
Bruno will get better at selling those. We'll be fine.
But yeah, it was pretty clear cut. Like I said, like you just said, I'm with you. We can't. Rodrigo's a striker. Came in halfway through the game. Wasn't even able to necessarily get into the game. Not a great way to start your Leeds debut, though.
No, not great, especially because I think they paid like a record fee for him, so not a great start. But of course, Salah finishes the penalty for his hat trick at 4-3, and that is the end of the game as the final score 4-3. Marcelo Bielsa not happy. Of course, giving Jurgen Klopp credit, but visibly upset at the end of the game, thinking he probably could have and should have gotten more out of the defending champions, but unfortunately unable to do so. Fascinating game. Paul, very glad we decided to cover this one.
Yeah, I just I'm always uncomfortable giving hat tricks to people who score penalties to get their hat trick. Like what you said the XG on a penalty is what like 0.75 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's about 75%. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm always uncomfortable. Like, oh, he got a hat trick. Well, he scored 2 penalties. Like, I mean, like,
So we're giving Leeds a lot of credit here, right? I just want to say something. So
yeah,
I've checked the XG on this game because XG, in case you guys don't, first time tuning into the show, XG is a stat that we like to use. Jose, credit to you for getting us hooked on this stat. You guys will meet Jose in a future episode, but check the XG on this game, which of course is the percentage. It's a sum of the percentage for every shot. You calculate the percentage chance that it's going to end up in a goal. You sum all of those, and you will get the XG for the team, which roughly turns out to be how many goals they were expected to score given the quality and quantity of shots that they had. So Liverpool's XG was 3.15. They scored 4 goals. Would you like to guess what Leeds' XG was? Remember, they scored 3 goals.
1.7.
0.27.
Wow.
That is called being clinical with your chances. That's all I'm gonna
Seriously.
say. That's
Seriously.
all I'm gonna say.
How many?
Wow.
Let me check this out. How many shots on target did they have? 3 shots on target,
Yeah.
3 goals. Oh yeah, yeah. You're not wrong there. You're
Clinical.
not wrong there.
Clinical from Leeds United. Very close to taking some points off Liverpool, but not quite. Of course, they'll have another opportunity to do it later in the season, and we'll see if other teams could follow that blueprint. But until then, Paul, let's move on to chip specials. Let's move on to chip specials. Chip specials, of course, ladies and gentlemen, tuning in to the show for the first time, is kind of the news segment of the show where we go over the latest news, latest things that are going on. In this case, we're going to talk some transfers because transfer window, of course, open until I believe it's October the 5th. So we're going to talk about some of the rumors, some of the big moves that have happened, and kind of give our opinions.
Yeah, we have. So I love the summer. You know, I love the summer. I love talking transfers. And this summer we had a little bit of a weird transfer window. But it's not the weird transfer window that really hooks me during this summer transfer window. It's all the big names that just were rumored, but then maybe didn't go. We'll talk about it. Yeah. So we're gonna hop on the bandwagon a little bit and talk about some big trades that are trades. Goodness gracious, some big transfers.
There we go.
That did or didn't happen over the course of this transfer window. And let's start with the situation. I see in your notes. I want to give you the opportunity to introduce this yourself. What kind of situation are we talking about here? What kind of situation?
A messy situation.
A messy situation indeed.
Very messy situation. You know, it's funny, Paul. I mean, we'll give the viewers a little insight here. We did not plan that, but I actually did have that verbatim written down in my notes. What a messy situation.
I see him.
And oh, that's right. Yeah, you can see my screen. Oh, never mind. All right. I was like, wow, we're on telepathy, man. This is just
first Higuain to Inter, and now I'm just Nostradamus over here.
Yeah. Inter Miami. Inter Miami.
Not Inter Milan. That would be not surprising, honestly, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Should I give a little background information?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Talk about it. So over the summer, Lionel Messi, possibly the best player in the world, depending on who you ask. If you ask me, yes. If you ask Rahul, no. He came out saying that he wanted to leave Barcelona this summer, and he sent a burofax in August to the president and the board saying that he would like to be requesting the transfer officially, right?
Yeah.
The problem is, Rahul, that Messi had a clause in his contract that said he could ask to leave this summer, but he'd have to put that transfer request in before the end of June. Now, I don't know if you know what's happened the past year, Rahul, but there was a whole scheduling issue where the whole season just got pushed all the way back.
A little thing called coronavirus that I hear's been going on for a few months here.
Yeah, so Messi, being the stand-up guy he is, even though he probably didn't handle this the best way. Let's be real about that. Messi, being the stand-up guy he is, knew that they were still playing in the Champions League come the end of June, and he did not put his transfer request in.
What a guy! What a guy!
Officially, right? Because he didn't want any, if they did bomb out, which they did. If they did bomb out, they didn't want anyone saying, well, that's because the leaving of Messi threw them off their game, right? So he doesn't want any of that. So he does not put the transfer in by the end of June. Now, as the story goes, Messi had been telling Bartomeu,
Josep Maria Bartomeu,
that's right. Sorry, Bartomeu, that he wanted to leave pretty much all year. And Bartomeu reportedly kept saying, that's fine. We'll wait to deal with it after the season. They didn't.
And say, what do you call now? Now's a pretty. I'm just checking my watch, check for the dates. That's.
So, Barcelona bomb out of the Champions League with an 8-2 loss to Bayern Munich, which is very embarrassing for Barcelona. And Messi,
the Germans just show no mercy in general. My God, just in terms of Brazil, in terms of Barcelona, in terms of all the London clubs, it's just like it's on a tear.
Ist wunderbar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so after that, he puts in his transfer request. Well, Barcelona say no because he did not do it in time, right? Bartomeu kind of goes back on his word to Messi. And I'm not just speculating here. Messi came out in a goal interview, which is
and it's like, here's the lowdown, guys. This is what went down.
And basically they say that if Messi wants to leave, someone will have to pay his release clause or buy him from the club. And his release clause is right around, it's not the exact figure, but right around like 700 million euro, as you would expect the release clause for Messi to be. And kind of Man City was the head hurt team that was trying to get him. And reportedly Messi wanted to go to Man City to join up with Pep. Pep wanted Messi. Who doesn't want Messi, right? And honestly, Man City is probably the only club that's kind of positioned to buy that buyout clause, right? $700 million.
Yeah, just need another, cash infusion that violates FFP for them to do, and then they'll be fine.
So I don't know if you wanted to talk about this, but there's a whole like the way they were gonna make the money work.
Oh God!
Because Messi's on 500,000 euros a week or something like that.
Oh yeah. Is this how they were gonna like split the contract between here and like NYCFC and the MLS?
And there were like stock options, so that like by the time Messi was done, he would own a little bit of the City Football Club or City Football Organization or whatever it is. Yeah. So that's kind of the background, but it doesn't happen, Raul. It doesn't happen. And Messi stays for another season. I like the reason Messi stays. He doesn't want to go out on a bad note with the Barcelona fans, and he doesn't want to get into kind of litigation with Barcelona over his contract. So instead of, kind of screwing over the club, he does decide to stay for one more season under Ronald Koeman, who he apparently didn't really want there in the first place. No Suarez. Griezmann's still there. Dembele's still there. Coutinho back from loan. Barcelona's looking interesting this season. So what are your kind of thoughts on this whole Messi saga?
I think it's nice that he doesn't want to ruin the relationship with what he called the only club that he's really ever known, because he joined them when he was just a wee lad. And then now he's, obviously reaching the twilight of his career, and he wants to obviously not ruin the relationship with this club, of course, he still wants to remain a club legend, doesn't want to, there's several cases of very great players, Roy Keane being one of them, who, was a legendary player of the club legend, but ruined his relationship with the club. And then, you're only a player for so long, and afterwards you don't want to have your reputation tarnished and your relationship, soured. So I can respect that. But honestly, dude, that's why you don't sign a contract that has a $700 million euro buyout clause under any circumstances, regardless of when they tell you you can void it and all kinds of things. You just don't agree to have that clause in there. I believe the world record transfer was it Mbappe or Neymar? It was one of them, and it was for like 230.
I think it's still Neymar.
It's Neymar for I think it was like 236 or something like that.
Yep.
It's somewhere in the neighborhood of that. Okay, 700 million is like 3 times that, if my math is correct. It's like almost exactly 3 times that. So if you are going to sign a contract that has a buyout clause with 3 times the world record transfer fee, which many people already agree is absurd, may never be paid again, and was the result of financial fair play violations that PSG were only able to get around because of all of the hoops that they jumped through, which we talked about in an earlier episode when they got off of on a technicality of the UEFA investigation. If you're going to sign a contract with a 700 million euro buyout clause in it, I'm sorry, I have very little sympathy for you when it doesn't work out. Because you kind of put yourself in that situation. Like if he had signed a contract that had maybe 150 million euro buyout clause in it, then if he wanted to leave for whatever reason, because it seemed like he would have stayed had they, been in a decent state. But that way, if you do actually want to leave, City could probably have afforded you. They probably could have worked something out. But 700 million is ridiculous. I don't even know if City's squad right now in total is worth 700 million. Like that's absurd. So it's crazy. Would I like to see him play in a league other than Spain? Yes, because that's one of the reasons why in the Cristiano versus Messi debate, which again I've said is like, let's just appreciate them both. But in the debate, I always bring up the point that Messi has only ever played in Spain. I want to see him do it somewhere else. And so personally, I'd rather see him in Italy, not in Spain, or not in England with Pep. Not only because I don't want him playing for Manchester City, but also because I want to see him and Cristiano together again, because that was box office a few times a year that we got, and we haven't had it the last couple of years, and it hasn't been the same, and I want to see it again, at least once more before they retire.
Yeah, so now it comes down to Barcelona have 1 year to convince him to sign a new contract.
Good luck.
I would assume that it would only be for a year, maybe 2, if it's an extension, right?
Yeah.
Or Messi leaves on a free next summer, which means goodbye 7 million euros, which they're apparently 700 million. Yeah, you're right. Euros,
7 million plus a little bit more.
which of course, Ronald Koeman is coming out and saying like they don't have the money, the finances to get the pie right now. Like, well, I know you could have made a lot of money this summer.
Well, I bet they better figure it out. They better figure out how to get some more world-class players. Otherwise, Messi gonna be gone. So you better figure it out.
So the question is, and we'll leave it off on this, Raul, do you think he stays at Barcelona or do you think he moves on?
No, he'll leave. I think he'll leave. I think he's learned his lesson, and this year he'll find a way to get out. And I'm pretty sure he'll be at Manchester City next season for at least a little bit in his career, which is sad, but it is what it is.
I'm with you. Well, your only hope is that Ronaldo moves to United for kind of a farewell tour.
Yeah, well, hopefully the number 7 shirt is occupied, but we will talk about that. We'll talk about that
momentarily, but let's cover a couple more things before we get there. So speaking of Ronaldo's team Juventus has currently signed on loan a U.S. international by the name of Weston McKennie, who used to play for Schalke, or I guess technically still. It's his parent club, right? He's on loan. So Juventus signed Weston McKennie, a United States midfielder, with an option to buy. And it's kind of big news, especially in the United States, because all these United States players are now making a big name for themselves across the pond and across, in Europe. And we have Pulisic playing for Chelsea. We have not Tony Adams. Tyler Adams playing for Leipzig, right? And one of the real kind of concerns was, wow, we have the star in Weston McKennie, but Schalke has not really given him the opportunity to kind of really grow as a player. So hopefully we're now going to see Weston McKennie really grow as a player. Don't know how he's going to fit into this Pirlo system. There's already so many midfielders there, Raul. What are your thoughts on Weston McKennie moving to Juve?
That's kind of my concern. It's a great opportunity if he can get playing time, but can he get the playing time because there's so many different midfielders? But I mean, hey, even if you can get training time with players like Paulo Dybala, Cristiano Ronaldo, like if you learn an ounce of what they have to offer from their wealth of experience and their ability, hey man, that's a great opportunity. I'd say take it. I mean, it's worth it. He's just, I mean, if you said it was a loan, if he's there on
Yep.
loan, I mean, if it doesn't work out, he doesn't get the playing time. He comes back, but he's had a year to work with two of the best players in the world. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I'm thinking. Worst case scenario for me is that he's kind of used as a power sub, and I really do kind of see him used as a power sub. Just get on the ball, make something happen, get it to the good players or the better players, whatever, right? And then if he goes back, I think other teams will be in for him next summer on legitimate to buy him from Schalke, even if Juventus aren't the ones that pick him up, because I think he will have a good showing in Serie A. I think it's going to fit his play style a little bit more. He was kind of doing everything for Schalke in the Bundesliga. They're not in really good shape right now. So hopefully he gets a little bit more freedom with not having like the world on his shoulders to play a little bit.
Yeah.
And Andrea Pirlo, we're going to see how he goes as a manager as well. We didn't throw him in this conversation, but that was always interesting, right?
Yeah, it was an interesting hire. Especially, shame that Sarri got sacked just because they lost to lost to Lyon in Champions League.
So sad. Speaking of Christian Pulisic and Chelsea, let's talk about Chelsea real quick.
I like the transition there.
You like that, right?
It was cute.
So 5 names I want to bring up right now. We've already talked about one, so I don't want to focus on Hakim Ziyech. But Chelsea this summer brought in a buttload of players. It's like they got banned from the transfer window last year or something. I don't know.
Something like that.
And they bring in a buttload of good players. And now they have Hakim Ziyech. They have Timo Werner, who they bought out his buyout clause of £47.5 million, which for Timo Werner is definitely worth the money, I think. They acquire Ben Chilwell from Leicester for right around that £50 million number as well.
That's highway robbery, but okay.
Yeah, seriously. What did you pay for what's his name? Aaron Wan-Bissaka?
Around 50 million, and I promise you Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a much better fullback overall.
Okay. And then they get Thiago Silva from PSG on a free, right? He left PSG, which I think is a really good acquisition by Chelsea, especially if they're trying to give it a little like I don't know, like a David Luiz to Arsenal kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, just for you can't do that to me. just for depth, and just experience. I think it's a fantastic move just for short-term things to bring him in.
Yeah, I think he'll start week in, week out for them eventually. I really do.
Yeah,
I think he's that good of a.
No. I'm sure he's good enough. I just question his
age.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. And then finally,
he is 35.
If those weren't the big moves of the summer, they acquired Kai Havertz from Bayer Leverkusen for right around £70 million, which is also a really good transfer fee for Kai Havertz. I saw the number up to like 100 million at one point. I think 70 million, 80 million is probably right around what he costs.
It might be a package that goes up to that with add-ons and things like that.
So the reported number is right around 70 million pounds, and now Chelsea seem to have a plethora of really good players. My one question for you, Rahul, is does that mean they're going to be good this season?
No.
Can they get that fit?
Buying a bunch of good players doesn't make you a good team. Fitting them into a system makes you a good team. Now, do I think these players can all fit together? Yes. But do I have some concerns about their team overall? Yes. Do I think they know how to properly deploy N'Golo Kante? No. Do I think Frank Lampard specifically knows how to properly deploy N'Golo Kante? No. Do I see another holding midfielder on this list? No. Is that going to be a problem if you have too many attacking players and not enough holding midfielders? Yes, it is going to be a problem. Have they really is Ben Chilwell really that good of a left back defensively? I don't know. They had a revolving door at left back in what was his name? Oh, good lord.
Had Alonso in there?
No, not Alonso. The other guy. I can't remember his name.
I don't know.
They had a revolving door at left back when Alonso wasn't playing. Is Ben Chilwell, the combination of Ben Chilwell and Alonso, good enough? We'll have to wait and see. The one that does excite me is Timo Werner. Because I have talked consistently about how Chelsea do not have a proper tip of the spear. Even Tammy Abraham last year, he was good, but he doesn't have the pace I think that Frank Lampard wants. And he's not as clinical as Timo Werner is, as good as he is. So
Emerson, right?
Emerson, thank you, Emerson. Right. Yes, revolving door to left back. Yeah, I like the Timo Werner signing a lot. They stole him out from under Liverpool, brought him in, and I think he's going to do really well there. But do I think Chelsea, as a side, are automatically going to do well just because they signed a bunch of players? No.
Yeah, I still have them in my top 4, but that's just. We'll get into our predictions later on in another episode, but they're in my 4th place position.
Yeah,
my 4th place position. So.
Same.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, Chelsea looking at least like they kind of look like Barcelona did at the very beginning of last season.
Oh.
Or 2 seasons ago, whatever, right? The Dembele,
flashing the cash. That means in 2 seasons they're gonna have somebody ready to call out the president. Well, not the president. I guess call out Abramovich, and we know how well that goes. Anyway, next one.
Just real quick, Gareth Bale rumors again heating up. Manchester United. No, I'm just joking. He looks like he's probably going to Tottenham Hotspur on a loan deal at first. I just saw right before the show my last update on this. Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly for you. A Tottenham loan deal worth about 13 million, according to the Daily Mail. So yeah, possible loan deal to Tottenham. Wanted to leave Real last summer. That move was blocked. Agent says deal is close. What do you think of Tottenham and Gareth Bale's getting back together? Does he still have it, Raul?
I think that the golf courses in London will not be as nice as the golf courses in Spain. But, I guess he's going back to his old club, and it's a nice moment for him. But is he going to be able to stay fit in the Premier League? Let's be honest, probably not. How much is he going to play? Probably not a heck of a lot. Does Mourinho like him? Yes, as I've read. So I mean, maybe it'll be a good signing for a few games when he's fit. He'll be a real force. But do I think this is really going to be the signing that changes the course of Spurs season and their outlook? No, I honestly don't. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so Gareth Bale, I'm excited to have him back in the Premier League if he does come back, even if he is playing for the second best North London team.
To be fair, he always did play there, right? When he was playing in the Premier League.
Whatever, Raul, whatever. All right, let's talk Jadon Sancho, Raul. I'll give it to you. What's going on, man? I want your take on this whole business, because and before, actually, I want to say this before Raul gives his take. It is not the official stance of Cheeky Chip Chat that Jadon Sancho is going to be a done deal this summer. I want everyone to know that.
Dude, it's going to happen. Gonna happen. JS7 is coming, man. Okay, so all I'm going to say is what a freaking mess. And perhaps to be expected, you've got the tight purse-lipped owners who don't want to spend too much money on any one player. You have a situation where the club's losing money because of coronavirus, right? Just like everybody else. So those owners are now even more reluctant to spend so much money on one player and likely break their own transfer record for that one player. And then you've got all of these journalists saying all kinds of different things. You've got Fabrizio Romano, who's the guy I trust the most, and he says that personal terms were done end of July, early August. There were some rumors, not from Fabrizio, that came out that they thought the deal was completely agreed, and then Woodward went back in to negotiate and try and get the fee for lower, and he went and messed it up, unsubstantiated again, but it's possible that happened. Reporters in the UK were reporting for the longest time that personal terms were not done. And that needed to be sorted before United started talking to Dortmund, and Fabrizio said that's not true. And then journalists came out and said, journalists close to the club are now coming out and saying, actually, personal terms are not a problem, but the fee with the club is the problem. Fabrizio's like, that's what I've been saying all along. And so you've got these like very credible people who have very credible sources who are all saying different things, which means they're all being briefed different things because it's all the different clubs trying to posture and maneuver and feed out different stories to try and pressure the other one into cracking. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to Dortmund won 120 million euros. United don't want to pay 120 million euros, even though to be quite honest with you, they should just pay the 120 million euros because he's freaking worth it. But they're going to try and get him for as cheap as possible. What do I think is going to end up happening? Frankly, United are just going to cave and pay 120 million euros. They caved and paid 50 million with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They caved and paid 80 million with Harry Maguire. They're going to cave and pay 120 million with Jadon Sancho here. And I can't see them not doing it because if they don't do it, the meltdown and the absolute storm that is going to ensue if they don't do it will be unlike anything that the Glazers have ever seen before. If you thought the Bruno thing was bad when people went to Ed Woodward's house, which by the way, I do not condone, I condemn, and I think we as a platform condemn doing that. But if they thought that was bad, there are some crazy people out there, and I promise you, crazy people will do crazy things when they get pissed off. And this is going to drive them insane if this doesn't get done. So that's all I'm going to say.
Crazy football
fans will do crazy stuff. So we'll see. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to get done. I think it's just posturing, and eventually somebody's going to crack and the deal will get done. Because I just don't think they can afford to not do it, especially with the only player we've brought in this summer being Donny van de Beek, who I think is a great signing. But, I mean, that's the only Donny van de Beek. I mean, over last season, we need so much more than that. So,
yeah,
I think it's going to happen.
I'm with you. I know we didn't have Donny van de Beek on our list here, but I thought it was a pretty good signing.
Good signing.
He's really good for Ajax. Real was in for him for a little bit, is what I understand. So
he was in. Yeah, they were in for him for a while, and then I think our relationship with Van der Sar helped push it over the line. But yeah. All right, you want to move on to the last transfer?
Yep, I just wanted to jump on that Jadon Sancho bandwagon because everyone's talking about it. The last transfer, I just went really quick because it's a personal loss of mine in a way. Emi Martinez, the Arsenal goalkeeper from kind of really made a breakthrough at the very end of last season because Bert Leno's injury against Brighton, has been sold from Arsenal after 11 years at the club. He was the oldest serving first team player. 11 years at the club, lots of loan spells, but he always stayed because he loved the club, loved Arsenal, and he finally got a shot last season. Did not waste it, Rahul. But now he's moving on to Aston Villa for first team opportunities or more first team opportunities, which I think he absolutely deserves, for about £20 million. So it's going to be sad to see him go. Tearjerker of a goodbye. I don't know if you ended up watching it, but it was about a 3-minute video on his Instagram. If you're looking to cry today, people, go watch Emi Martinez's goodbye to Arsenal.
No, I'm not looking to have an Arsenal player make me cry. That's not something.
That's a Villa player to you, my friend.
Ex-Arsenal, same thing. I've already had that with Alexis Sanchez. I don't need it again.
That's all I got. I just wanted to quickly say, Emmy, thanks for everything you've done for the club. Thanks for winning us the FA Cup this season and the Community Shield. Liverpool, Chelsea. Yeah, that's that. He's a gunner through and through, and it's painful to see us let him go like that. He's a little too old, in my opinion, to have a buyback clause. I think he's about 26, if I remember correctly. So probably not a buyback clause kind of player, but good goalkeeper. He really kind of showed his good after the return of the Premier League. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got on transfer news, Rahul.
All right,
shall we
man.
get to our hot takes?
Sure. Let's jump into the hot takes. Let's do these quick because I want to get to the trivia championship. But you want to do three each? I'll let you go first.
Okay, so my 3 hot takes for the upcoming season are: Bayern go back-to-back as champions of the Champions League.
Oh, I was going to say of the Bundesliga. I don't know if that's a hot take, bro.
Oh, yeah, of the Bundesliga. No. Bayern are going to win the UCL again this season.
Wow.
I think they've really improved. So, yeah, that's my first hot take. I don't know if it's that hot of a take, but this next one is one hot of a take. Tottenham will win their first piece of silverware under Jose Mourinho.
What's it going to be?
It's either going to be Carabao or the Europa League. That's my guess. I'm thinking Carabao or Europa League, and it's the only thing that's going to save Jose Mourinho because they are going to tank in the Premier League.
That I can agree with you.
So Tottenham will win a piece of silverware under Jose Mourinho, and it will save Jose Mourinho's career there. And finally, Rahul, Manchester United will come in second place in the Premier League this season.
I like that one. I can get behind that one.
I know. People are going to hate me for that, but I think one of the two big two are going to slip a little bit. My thoughts initially were Manchester City. I want to see them play one game before I really kind of solidify that thought. But yeah, Manchester United, I think, are going to come in second place this season. And I think it's going to be a tough top 3 race, top 4 possibly. Yeah.
So I also have us coming in second place, but we'll do like an initial top 4 ranking at the end of this segment. But my top takes are: number 1, Cristiano Ronaldo will not be in. Well, hold on. So the Ballon d'Or is going to be for next year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo will not be in the top 3 for Ballon d'Or voting next year.
Wow. Okay. I like that.
Which is sad for me to say because he's my favorite player. As you can see, he's sitting right there. Let's see what else. PSG or Bayern, either PSG or Bayern will not repeat their league title this year. One of them. I don't know which one, but one of them will not repeat their league title this year. And the last one, I will say that Everton will finish above Arsenal.
Oh, you're killing me here, Smalls. You're killing me here, Smalls. But I do have them doing really, really well this season. I'm kind of really pumped about Everton. I don't know if they're going to do better than Arsenal. I think I have them coming in 6th and Arsenal 5th. But
you have you guys coming in 5th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do a top 6. We'll do a top 6. Let's do a top 6 ranking right now. Okay, let's do it. What you got?
All right. So my initial top 6 is I think Liverpool's going to win it again. Man United, I do have City slipping. I think just the Pep 5-year cycle, I think it's over for them a little bit. So I do see them slipping. I think it's going to be real tight. Then I am going to have to respectfully put Chelsea into 4th. Arsenal 5th and Everton 6th. Yeah.
So we have pretty much the same top 6, except I have Everton finishing in 5th.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Arsenal finishing in 6th. But yeah, see, my thing with City slipping is what defensive signings did they make other than Nathan Ake?
Ake.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
And if that's it, then I can't see them fixing the issues that they had last year. Like they're gonna have the same exact problems. And I think United are gonna be a little bit more consistent this year, especially with Bruno. If we bring in Sancho, there's gonna be so many more goals coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can beat them, and we beat them 3 times last season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like I said, I think it's gonna be close.
Yeah,
but,
it's gonna be a good league this season. I'm very, very, very excited, at least for the Premier League, and of course the other leagues kick off this weekend. Now, next episode, perhaps we will cover a game from one of the other leagues. But for now, we will head to the final segment of today's show, the Trivia Championship.
All right, let's do it.
So, today's trivia question for all you listeners out there. I start off with a multiple choice question, and I provide, a few answers. Normally, there's a few other people on, and we're competing to see who gets the most right, by the end of the year. But for now, it's just Paul. So I have made the question a little bit easier by reducing it to 3 answer choices. Woo. So you got a little bit higher percentage chance of getting it right.
All right, let's do it.
Of the newly promoted clubs, which of them has spent the most seasons in the Premier League? Is it A, Leeds United, B, Fulham, or C, West Bromwich Albion?
That's a tough question. Those are like historically big,
big clubs.
EPL teams, yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with Fulham. I'll go with Fulham.
Well done, Paul. You picked out the one. Both Leeds
Nice.
and West Brom have been in the league for 13 seasons. Fulham have been in the Premier League for 15 seasons. So well done.
Gotcha.
Not consecutively, obviously.
Right. And was this counting like the actual like Premier League itself, or like before the
Just the Premier League.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah, I would have said Leeds if it wasn't, I think.
Yeah.
So. All right.
Cool. And
1 point for
finally, we'll do a round of 20 questions. We'll see if you can guess this. For those of you who have never played 20 questions at home, I question what were you doing your entire childhood? For perhaps missing out on one of the greatest games that has ever been invented. 20 questions. Of course, Paul has 20 questions, yes or no, that he can ask me. And based on the response to those questions, he has to guess the player/manager, which I have conjured up in preparation for today's episode. So let me go ahead and get this person's page up on the Googles, and we will get going.
All right.
Just give me a second.
Yeah. Oh, goodness bless you.
Thank you. That's the first sneeze live on the air. That's wow.
Your first sneeze. I had one really bad last season. I don't know if you remember it.
All right. Let the questioning be. Hold on.
Whew.
God, it's a flurry. It's like a hat trick.
Go. All right. I guess there's no point in muting yourself though, because
crap. You can see this, can't you?
Did
you just see who that was?
No, I have you up big, so I don't see who's on the screen.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, yeah, don't because if you can see me sharing my screen, don't look at it.
All right. Is this a current player? Oh, by the way, 15 seconds between questions.
I didn't make it to the call button.
It's funny because they can still see you on screen. So
I know, but I'd rather them not hear the actual event happen. Yes,
I understand.
Okay.
Is this a current player?
Yes.
Okay. Does this player play in the Premier League?
No.
Does this player play in La Liga?
No.
Does this player play in Bundesliga?
No.
Does this player play in Serie A?
Yes.
Okay. Is this player a defender?
Yes.
Okay. Serie A defender. Is this player a center back?
No.
Is this player a right back?
Yes.
Okay. Right back, Serie A. Does this player play for Juventus?
No.
Does this player play for Inter Milan?
Yes.
Is this Ashraf Hakimi?
Very good, Paul. Very, very, very good. I was hoping you'd go down the nationalities route and get stuck, but...
oh, yeah. Moroccan? Is that what he is, right?
He is Moroccan, so I was hoping you would go down that route, but unfortunately was not able to stump you this week. That's 2 points. We'll begin tallying and posting the score as the season and the year progresses. But, yeah, Paul, I think it's going to wrap for our first live episode. It was a good one. You got anything to say, anything to plug?
Just our social media and my social media, and if you want your social media. But follow us at Cheeky Chip Chat on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That's at Cheeky Chip Chat. And follow me at Cheeky Paul on Twitter for a lot of great football commentary. I try to keep it pretty lighthearted, not too analytical. Lots of memes. Football, sometimes football related, sometimes not. But yeah, Alexi Lawless just replied to my my Twitter yesterday, so I was super pumped about
Your season has been made and it has just started, so that's
I wish it was a little bit of a more intelligent comment from me, but
I was probably why you're replying like, who's this guy?
Seriously, I felt real bad about it. But yeah, follow us at Cheeky Chip Chat on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
And check out our website.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's cheekychipchat.com.
Yep, cheekychipchat.com. As shown on screen below Paul. Yeah. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to us on YouTube. Go ahead and check us out if you would like to listen to any part of the show. You don't have to, look at our ugly faces. You can, of course, Check out the audio-only version of this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Music, SoundCloud, or Spotify. Wherever you want to check it out is fine with us. Feel free to give us a follow. A share would be greatly appreciated. Show this to anybody you know who's into soccer podcasts, likes and just enjoys watching the sport, fan content, all of that kind of stuff. Would be greatly appreciated. Would like to give a shout out to Purple Planet Music for providing the intro music that you heard this week. You can check them out at purple-planet.com. And that's going to do it from us. So until next time, we hope that you, Chips, will keep it cheeky until we chat next time. Take care.